Hey, welcome back to the Big Red Zone. We are very excited for today's show. Remember, new episodes come out every Wednesday. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the like button on this video as well as all our other videos. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Big Red Zone. And tell a friend. Today, we have one of our favorite guests on the show. Jack Moran is here. We're going to break down the championship weekends with the Bengals game and the Rams game, predict our Super Bowl winners. We'll also talk about the potential retirement of Tom Brady. It's not confirmed now, so we'll have to go over that. All that and more on this week's episode of the Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. This is the Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. As always, I'm joined by Danny Football.
What's going on?
What's going on? Champion of his soccer league, Danny
Sunday
Football.
League co-ed champion.
Of Clinton, Mass.
Washed up athlete champion.
Hey, a ring's a ring. That's all I have to say.
A ring is a ring. Yeah, I'm going to take that
Ring.
t-shirt. But I'll introduce another champion. We got the
Oh, yeah.
Rob's Bald Spot
I was
BMF
waiting
champion.
if I was getting credit.
Big congrats to our southern, my southern pal too. Southern Division pal. Jack Moran is here today. How you doing, Jack?
I'm good, boys. Glad to be back. It's been a minute. Definitely been a couple months since I've been here. So good to always good to come back to Big Red Zone. What's going on with you guys? I haven't seen you guys. Haven't really talked too much shit since I won my champion. But,
it
might be my time.
I went underground once Jack won his championship. There was nothing said. I think the last time actually all three of us saw each other was the Sox game. One of the best games.
That was the last good game.
The last good game.
Legit.
And then I don't think we've talked since Jack won his championship because it was just too much trash talk. I
got years of pent up shit to talk. Years.
Hey,
kid shows up in a 5-0 shirt and hasn't beat me. He cursed himself. He mushed himself.
I literally I'm burning that shirt. I haven't burnt it yet. I don't know where it is. I gotta find it. I'm burying it, burning the ashes. I'm getting rid of that shirt.
Bulletin board material. I don't know. That may have inspired Jack to go on a dynasty run right now.
It might. I don't know. I lost in the championship last year. Finally broke through and won it this year. Felt good. Felt
better than
real
the Chiefs.
Good. Better than the Chiefs. Yeah. Well, yeah. I was gonna say a dynasty. You're kind of on pace for the Chiefs dynasty of winning one championship and being to a Super Bowl. Now, if you go next year, they're in three. They're the same as the Chiefs. That's all you need is your 3 Super Bowl appearances and a championship, I guess, to be a dynasty now.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. No, they only have 2 appearances, don't they?
No, they have 2. This is gonna be the 3rd.
Yeah,
because they lost against they beat the 40. No,
they beat the 49ers.
We went into Arrowhead and so did Joey B.
Yeah, that's right.
They beat the 49ers and lost to Tom.
Right. They won 2 years ago, lost last year. Mm-hmm. They just can't beat Tom Brady. That's it. Or Tom Brady Jr.
Or Joe Burrow.
Yeah, they're the only 2.
Tom Brady Jr. Joey Burrows, Tom Brady Jr.
I can't believe that.
That was an unbelievable game. I mean, we'll jump right into that with the weekend recap. And we'll talk about first off, KC versus the Bengals. First of all, I mean, it was looking like, I think you even tweeted it out, Jack. This game is going just how I thought it was going to go. It was 21-3. And it was looking like KC was just going to dance to the championship, which I think I don't think anyone was surprised that someone would have Bengals at all for that. Like the Bengals are playing with house money at this point. And then they just upset them. And now they're kind of like, man, I could see this team winning the championship. It was a crazy game. And just general reactions. I know both of us picked the KC Chiefs to win last week. So just initial thoughts, fellas, of the Bengals upset.
I always thought they had a chance considering that they pulled it out against KC in the regular season. But when it was 21-3, man, I don't know if you guys saw any differently, but I thought it was iced. I thought it was over. I thought the Chiefs are going to just march on. It's, the dynasty grows. They go to another Super Bowl 2 years in a row now. And Joe Burrow said, not so fast, man. And Jack was on top of it too. That kid was iced out. He was ready to go. Ice in his veins. He fucking pulled it out of his ass. They played defense they played defense in overtime. Who could have fucking guessed it? And they win the game. So I couldn't watch it because I was at soccer. I was too busy winning my own championship, one more than Patrick Mahomes. But we'll see. I don't know. I want to hear how Jack thought this went down.
I thought when the touchdown to Kelsey, the second one to go up 14-0. Was it 14-3, 14-0?
I think it was 14-3. I think they got
whatever
it was.
Whatever it was, when Mahomes, like, he should have got sacked, broke out, did what fucking Pat Mahomes does, and he got that touchdown to Kelsey. I thought that was it. Casey's the one team you can't get in a firefight with. No matter how good your offense is, like Cincy, obviously they're loaded at receiver. Mixon's a dog. I mean, that their defense played out of its mind in the second half. Like, I don't know how Eli Apple was like, he had big plays yesterday. And honestly, he was the changing point in the game. If Tyreek takes his ankle and jukes him out and scores there at the end of the first half, I don't think they win.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that was a huge stop at the end of the first half.
I mean, Joey B played out of his mind in the second half. The Bengals D played out of their mind. I can't believe, like, as soon as I saw the Chiefs get the ball, I was like, here we go. Like in OT, I just thought it was going to be a repeat of last week, and I don't think they should have won last week. Like, I mean, the Bills shot themselves in the foot with the 13 seconds left. They really shouldn't have been in that situation. And honestly, if the Bills played the Bengals, I think the Bills probably would have won. But I don't know, man. Like, I feel like the Chiefs D-line coach has to get fired. You saw how Tennessee took the Bengals offensive line out behind the woodshed. You got one sack. You have Chris Jones. Melvin Ingram had a really good game. So they might have had two. I think he had a sack late. But Ingram looked like had a good game. Like, you have names. You have pass rushers. Like, dude, I mean, I know Tennessee's probably got the better pass rushers, but you have to get pressure on them. You saw how bad that O-line looked.
Yeah. And they only have one. I just looked it up. Only one sack allowed for the Bengals. And that's and especially we talked about, like, I think we've talked about in the past, especially like when we were talking about the draft going into this Bengals year, how we said we debated, a lot of us was like, is Jamar Chase the right play? They have drafted that O lineman? Their O line is awful, pretty bad. And the fact that you only got one sack on Joey Burrow, and I mean, a couple of those that Joe, especially at the second half, he just played out of his mind. He got that one that he like ran all over the field and just got out of the sack. Like, that's like,
he pulled him off.
Yeah. Someone said it was like Eli Manning-esque. It was like the helmet catch. Like, it was like that same type play. Like, if you had him by the shoulders, he got out of it. Had him by the ankles, and he just stepped out of it. And then he gets the first down. Like, you kind of got to make those plays. And I'm glad you mentioned because I thought with the coin toss, it was over. But it's like we talked about last week. The part of the coin toss is it's not over once you get the ball. Your defense has to make a play. And if you don't have faith in your defense, I mean, you have no spot being there. And they proved why that rule is in place, because the defense came up big. And that's why they won that game. The defense played out of their mind. They got punched in the mouth to start the game, but they tightened up in the second half, and they played an unbelievable second half of football.
I forget, I can't remember if this was OT or in the fourth quarter, but I think one of the Bengals like dropped a pick. I think it was OT.
I think it was Eli Apple.
It might have been Eli Apple.
It was ironically, it was Eli Apple. It was right in his hands and he dropped it. I think it was. It was the fourth quarter. It was the fourth quarter because they came down and tied it would have been over. I think that's when it was, because if they got the interception, it would have been over. Or am I mixing up with the 49ers game?
I thought, for some reason, it was like first down in the overtime session. Regardless, yes. As soon as he dropped that, I was like, oh, it's over. Like, you just can't give Mahomes second chances like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Like, Joe Burrow is him. He
He's
is
legit, dude.
One
Yeah.
full season,
I mean,
he goes to the Super Bowl, man. One full season.
Dude, it was wicked funny. I saw a Twitter post. It was like a picture of Zach Taylor and a picture of Ed Orgeron, Coach O. They were like, they're like, Joe Burrow asked both these men if they were ready to go to the promised land and told them to hop. It was hilarious.
God damn it. Dude.
And I think I heard he has a chance to be the third player in NFL history to win a college championship, national championship, and a Super Bowl. Like, there's only a couple other people, and I think it's Joe Namath and
It's Namath and Montana for Natty
Montana.
and Super Bowl. He'll be the only one to do it with a Heisman.
Yeah, I think only one to do it with the Heisman, the number one, and then both the championships, which is crazy because he's going to do it in 3 years. Well, if he wins.
if they win this year.
That's a big if.
That's crazy.
Like,
And I mean,
know
we'll get
Chris
to it.
Burrow- Yeah.
Say again?
Well,
I-
no,
we'll
we'll,
get-
we'll just wait to that.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll get to the Rams because the Rams are a legit team. He has his hand. That's gonna be a good game, and it's gonna be like finally a Super Bowl. I really don't care who wins because it's like I'm happy with either result. But a couple more things on this KC Bengals game. I heard this. They were saying the end of the KC dynasty. Do we consider this Kansas City team a dynasty?
No, I
Need
don't.
multiple dynasty.
Yeah, that's like everyone was saying is a dynasty, and they won one
You
championship,
can't
lost
go.
another.
You can't go one of two and then just not go back. That's just not how
Yeah.
it works.
It's
That's-
like Seattle being a dynasty. in
Right.
early
It was the same thing.
Or
Right.
the Broncos. Like, just because you went to 2 Super Bowls doesn't make you dynasty.
Right.
Like, if that's the case, were the Bills a dynasty in the 90s? Oh, and
Yeah.
4?
No one
Yeah.
treats them
Like-
like one. God damn.
No.
Legit.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It's like the Patriots had to win 3. They won 3 in 4 years. In the third
Before
one was
anyone's
when
a
they,
dynasty.
yeah, they said on the third one they said it's a dynasty. And I think that's legit. Like if you win 3 championships in a small amount of time, I think that's a dynasty. And you're going to super.
If the Chiefs went back, like lost their first Super Bowl and then went back to back, I'd probably be okay with it.
yeah,
Just because, like, you know how young everyone is there. But you got to think about it. I saw a stat earlier. Mahomes' cap hit goes from $7 million this year to $36 million next year.
yeah.
That's fucking huge.
Window's closing, man.
The-
Window is
the-
closing. As soon as you
the-
pay the quarterback, that window closes.
And we've talked about that with the Mac Jones thing. We got to capitalize on getting those like top receivers in here now or top players in here now when he's on his rookie deal. Mahomes isn't on his rookie deal anymore. He's getting big boy money, and they're in trouble.
Mahomes' contract is probably worth some of like the low end sports teams in like the major 4.
Yeah,
like Mahomes
probably.
versus the Pirates, dude.
One thing I also want to hear if you've changed your opinion on because we had this debate before the game.
Yes,
I think-
we were going back and forth on this.
Because Portnoy put out, I mean, he said Mac Jones was like the 4th best young quarterback, and you very smartly.
Portnoy is a homer.
Yeah, I know. I know. But you put out your list, and I think I agreed with your list. I just put
It was just the 2 of them were flipped.
we're flipped. Yeah.
I said if we're talking like the best young quarterbacks, been in the league like 5 years or less. I said Mahomes was 1A, Josh Allen was 1B, and I think that you could. I mean, I'm not saying Josh Allen is better, but I think it's 1 Mahomes, 2 Josh Allen. But I think like the difference in them 2 is closer than people think.
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen is a stud.
I agree with that. And my one reason I put him below is the same reason I have Joey Burrow ahead of this other person you're going to mention. Is because he hasn't been able to get over the Mahomes hump. And I get he's not playing against Mahomes. He's playing against the KC defense, but he's not able to get his team yet. And he was 13 seconds away from doing that. Getting his team, which is, I don't put that on, that kind of contradicts.
I mean, it's not his fault. His defense.
It's not his fault.
His
His
make it
defense
stop.
couldn't get a stop.
Seconds left.
Yeah.
I also don't think I could confidently put Josh Allen number 1, like definitively over Mahomes just because of that game. Like
Yeah.
Mahomes does have the track record, but Allen's coming quick.
Yeah.
Like
I think
the AFC is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that could change next year. But anyways, you had 3. Who did you have 3?
I had Herbert 3.
And I had Joey Burrow 3.
Yeah,
And then
and
Herbert
I had
4.
Burrow 4. And we were going back and forth. Joe Burrow's got it. He just has it. He has that it factor. I still think arm talent, Herbert's probably better. And if you gave Herbert the weapons, like I know Keenan Allen's good, Mike Williams is good, Austin Eckler's good. Yeah. None of them are Jamar Chase. Like, you could maybe make an argument that T. Higgins is better than Mike Williams. So you could argue both the wide receivers are better. And then, I mean, Tyler Boyd's better than any number 3 that he has.
Right.
And honestly, I think I would say Eckler's probably better.
Yeah, I would say he's better than Mixon.
Mixon had a hell of a year. I think he's more well-rounded.
Yeah.
I just think, I don't know. I mean, after seeing what Joey Burrow's doing, I think you easily make the case for a 3. It's like 3A, 3B, honestly. Yeah. But I think Joe Burrow has that it factor and that swagger and that confidence, and we haven't seen that out of Herbert yet. So I'm almost inclined to go with Burrow at 3, honestly.
I just think I agree with what you said. I do think the weapons talent, I think you could go with wide receiver wise. I think the edge does go to Burrow. You have to say it because he does have, he has, like you said, Tyler Boyd's better than any 3 wide receiver that he has. Mike Williams, I think is, he's really good. And who knows if he's going to even stay there. He's a free agent. And then Keenan Allen, I think is legit. And but I do think the running back advantage goes to Herbert. But anyways, I think that it factor is why I put him ahead. That I don't know. I haven't seen that from Herbert. And I feel like Herbert can be like that. I mean, we talked about it in fantasy football and all our drafts. I wanted Herbert this year in every single league because I think he's legit.
Yeah.
But Joey Burrow, I just feel like he has the leadership quality, which I'm not saying Herbert doesn't, but he has that quality that's just like, it's the swagger. He's like, I'm going to win a game. You beat me. He looks at you in the face and says, you can't beat me, and I'm going to win a championship. Yeah. And I just think that in his second year and really his first full year of not being hurt, like it's like, I just want to see that because they kind of have had even years, right? Like Herbert's first year, he didn't start right away because he was the backup, and then he played it. He didn't play a full season. This is his first full season. Same thing with Joey. And I mean, he has a chance to win comeback player of the year. He has a chance to be a Super Bowl MVP. He has a chance to win a Super Bowl like that. I put higher stock in that than Joey Burrow. Cause like, you're right. The division's pretty good. His division's really good, but I mean, there's teams in the AFC, like we talked about. I feel like you got to have some of those games that he lost, and there's games that he lost where they only scored 7 points in the game. Like you gotta do better than that.
Yeah, that's fair for sure.
Let's move on to the second game. 49ers Rams. It's a tough way. And I say this, I think it's pretty definitive now. It's a tough way to end Jimmy's time with the 49ers, especially because he didn't play so bad. Like, I don't think this was probably the best of the playoff games, right? Would you say this is the best of his playoff games? He played it like this is his best numbers, I think.
Yeah, but I think it just comes down to he wasn't great in the fourth quarter, especially, but the second half he was all right in the first half. But I mean,
now here's the thing, because I think, I mean, they had a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter. They blow it. Rams win, and Rams I think are the better team, and I'm excited to see the Rams against the Bengals. But I think they're going to put the blame on Jimmy. I think the 49ers were in like a win-win situation. If they won, I mean, I guess it was a win-lose. It kind of worked out better that they lost because now they can say, all right, this is our, Lance is our guy. We're getting rid of Jimmy. It proves why we need Lance, blah, blah, blah. But I think this looks bad on Kyle Shanahan, to be honest with you. I think I heard this stat today, and it's pretty incredible. If you look at his last 3 playoff losses as a coordinator or a head coach, this one, he was outscored 10-0. The Chiefs one, I think he was outscored 21-0 in the fourth quarter. And the Pats one, he was outscored like 19-0 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
He's been outscored, I think, 50 something to nothing. You do the math in the fourth quarter of the last 3 playoff games as a defensive coordinator or whatever coordinator position or and head coach.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something to look at because we talk about him being one of the best young coaches in the league, and the guy just chokes in the fourth quarter of big games. I'll say Jimmy, I don't think Jimmy has his faults. I think I said something to say is Jimmy's the guy that is a starting pitcher that has a 4-something ERA, but 18 wins. Like he's just a guy that gets wins, but it's
I saw
ugly.
someone say Rick Porcello when he won his Cy Young.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's
like Dice K, dude. Dice K always had like a 3.8 and had 18 to 20 wins. Like,
yeah, he wins. So it's like, I don't know, but I think the 49ers, I mean, they got their guy, but next year is going to be the year for Shanahan because when you're outscored 50-something to nothing in the fourth quarter in your last 3 games, that's saying something as a coordinator.
oh yeah, it's brutal.
No,
dude.
I was gonna mention it if you didn't. The dude is just the king of choking in the fourth quarter. I don't know what it is, but anytime it's a big game, a big spot, and it comes down to those last couple minutes, the dude just can't close. And you said it yourself. If it's a QB change and things stay the same, then it's gonna be Kyle Shanahan's ass.
Yeah, and the other part of it is Sean McVay was doing everything he could to give the 49ers the game. Like he had a terrible challenge. It was one of the worst challenges.
Challenge was insane.
It was totally useless. He wasted timeout early on a challenge that was really the same thing. It was like, I don't get the point of challenging that play. So now he's down to 2 timeouts. He wastes a timeout to avoid a delay a game. So now he's down to 1 timeout. And then he uses the last challenge to literally get the same result he would have got if he didn't challenge it. It would have been just a punt to him.
I was like yelling at my TV. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, for what realistically, if he won that challenge, what is it? 20 yards of field position? There's 10 minutes left. It's not like there's 3 minutes left and you need that 20 yards. There is 10 minutes left. Like, I was legit sitting there yelling at my TV. I'm like, the risk reward for this is astronomically stupid to do this. And it could have easily backfired him. One of my buddies said it best when we were talking about the game when it was happening. He's like, I don't care who wins. He's like, I just want to see the timeout come into play.
Yeah.
Like, whether they can't get the stop and it's a ridiculous field goal or something like that, or they like couldn't stop the 49ers. I don't even know. But I will say, when it came down to the last drive, me and my roommate were talking about it. I was like, there are only 2 outcomes that are going to happen on this drive. You're either going to get a Jimmy G masterclass drive, or he's going to throw a pick. And it was one or the other.
Yeah. But the one thing I'll say about the Rams, about this getting back to the Rams game, I'm happy for one guy, and that is Matt Stafford. I can't wait for this guy. Suffered. He was loyal. He stuck with the terrible Detroit Lions, and this guy has a chance to win a championship. I'm happy for him. He won me a championship in fantasy football, so I'm looking forward to him trying to get a ring. And I think he has a really strong chance to win the ring because I think this is going to be the best shot they have.
Yeah, I think if you think about it, I mean, they want to bring back OBJ. They want to bring back Von Miller, and they will have money because Cup's money's coming off, or not Cup, sorry. Goff's money is coming off. I think I saw a post yesterday. It was like they have like 36 million coming off the books and like dead cap. So they have a shot, like for sure. But I mean, it's just so hard to run it back. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy for him. He got out of the purgatory that is Detroit. And it's just, I don't know, like that. This is the first Super Bowl in forever that I don't care who wins.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm happy either way. If Joey B gets his first ring, I'm happy. If Matt Stafford gets his first ring, I'm totally fine with that too.
Yeah, because I think I almost kind of want to see Stafford get it. Because like you said, this might be his best chance.
Yeah.
And I mean, Stafford's a baller, dude. If you look at his numbers, he's on pace for like, I mean, this was as of like 2 seasons ago. I'm sure it's probably different because I don't see him playing till 44 just because of how banged up he's been on over the years. And obviously Brady reset anything. Like his numbers are like super Hall of Fame worthy numbers. Like it's crazy. So if he gets a ring, I don't think you really have a debate. I think he's at this point, if he even stays remotely average to what he's had for the couple more years, I think he's a bona fide Hall of Famer.
1,000. I think he's a Hall of Famer, 1,000%. The fact that he put up those numbers while playing on trash Detroit teams is insane.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like, I think going what you said, Zach, that he put up all those numbers with Detroit.
He also lost Calvin Johnson in his prime.
Right. But now he gets to finish his career with Cooper Kupp, potentially OBJ. Hopefully Robert Woods comes back at least a little healthy. And they got a couple other guys that fill in the wide receiver. Like, he's got good weapons now. It's going to be like Brady his last 2 years. He was just slinging the ball the last couple of years, and he's going to get his numbers up even more. So I agree. I want him to win. I think Joey Burrow is going to have plenty more opportunities to win a ring. So I'm kind of rooting for the Rams right now. And they also got a lot of veteran guys that this could be their last kick at the can to try to get a championship. So I will say all the pressure, I think, is on the Rams and Sean McVay, because I think McVay, to be honest with you, I said this going into last week, he has the most to lose out of this whole playoff season because, he was his first year coach, first playoff thing when he went to the lost against the Patriots. And we kind of you saw that clip. NFL Films had it when he was like, man, I wonder what Bill's going to do. He's just like drooling over Bill Belichick before the game. And he was kind of like, it looked like he was like not ready for the big spot. Now it's been a couple years. He's still young, but he's had the experience. Like, this is it. Like, this is the chance. You have the best chance of winning the Super Bowl. I think he has the most to gain, most to lose and most to gain. Because if he wins this, now he's kind of like, oh, I'm a Super Bowl winning coach. The Bengals weren't even supposed to be here. So they're playing with house money. But the Rams, you went all in. You don't have a first round draft pick for 2 years. You have the best team right now, best roster, best offense, best defense. Like, they have to win. And if he doesn't win, Sean McVay is going to be at the front of the firing line for not winning this game.
Yeah, I mean, coming into the year, my preseason Super Bowl, I thought the Rams would beat the Chiefs. So, I mean, I'm feeling pretty good about the Rams winning the Super Bowl. I do think I'm assuming they're going to be favorited. But you're right. I mean, I do think that all the pressure is on them. And I think if McVay gives some of these openings that he gave the 49ers, like Joe Burrow might make him pay, honestly.
I agree. Real quick, do you want to do our Super Bowl picks? Do we want to pick our Super Bowl picks? Danny Football and I are tied in picks of the week, so this is going to decide the NFL season. Right here, our Super Bowl picks. What do you got?
Man,
I'll let you have a one-time change next week too, Danny Football. So I'll let you. We can change it one time.
So if anything changes between now and then,
Bengals.
I'm taking Bengals.
I'm gonna take the Rams. I'm living and dying with Matt Stafford. I think they have the best shot to win at home too. They're in their home stadium. They have a good chance of winning.
I didn't even think of that. Holy shit!
The Bengals are the home team.
No, Oh yeah, you're right.
They might be able to make the Rams go to the visitors' dugout or locker room, not dugout, which would be a hilarious mind game. But honestly, I hate when me and Steve are on the same page. I think the Rams. I mean, I think it's probably going to be a close game, probably within a touchdown. But I mean, I can see the Rams winning like 31-24, 31-27. I just don't know, but I can't wait for Jamar Chase versus Jalen Ramsey. That's going to be awesome.
That's going to be the marquee matchup. So we'll have to see 2 weeks. Pro Bowl obviously next week, but we'll get to the Super Bowl in a couple weeks. I'm very excited. So moving on, staying in the NFL, we had big blockbuster news on Saturday during the snowstorm. I think it was Saturday, but it came out that Tom Brady was retiring from the NFL, or he's announcing his retirement. Everyone starts giving their farewell. Big Red Zone said the thank you tweets. Everyone was raining in. Even TB12, the TB12 Twitter account was tweeted out a montage of memories. Thank you for Tom. And then probably about 5 hours into it, it was like, wait a minute, this isn't official yet. Everyone started coming out. His dad makes a comment. The what's his name? The Bucks organization makes a comment. His agent makes a comment. Tom's hasn't made any decision yet. And now we're like left in a limbo where Tom's not retired, but he's like probably going to retire. My 2 cents, and I'm interested to hear what you guys think. I think someone just messed up and leaked it too soon. He's supposed to get $15 million if he stays through Friday. I think it's this Friday. He gets a $15 million bonus if he's on the roster. He's 100% staying on the roster till Friday for $15 million bucks. My theory was he didn't want anyone to know. He already had in his mind he was going to retire. And then on the last episode of Man in the Arena, he was going to put out, and I'm walking away from the season. Like he's retiring. I think that's what he was trying to do. And someone messed up, leaked it. And now he's like trying to backtrack to try to like keep that, he's wants to get his bonus, and B, he's trying to like have that suspense for the last episode of Man in the Arena. But I think it's a good chance he's done. Like all the signs point that he's retiring, which a couple weeks ago I said I don't think there's a chance because he just won the MVP, and it was a tough loss to the Rams. Like they were right in that game and they had the game, and he's a couple bombs to Cooper Kupp away from winning another, going to OT and having a chance to go to the NFC Championship. So all the signs are pointing to he's retiring right now, but I think it was just a mess up, and I think he's trying to save face and announce it on his own terms, which he deserves to do.
Yeah, I do kind of want to see how this ends up shaking out, whether it's he comes out by himself or announces it in Man in the Arena or whatever it may be. Or for all we know, he flips and says, I'm coming back for another year. So I don't know where this is going to lead. And until it comes from him himself, I'm not kind of, write him off at any point.
I went through the whole Grable process. I had every emotion in the book. It sucked. Don't recommend it. My mind, he's retired. I truly think a week and a half ago, or a week ago, I didn't think he was retired. Because one, the I'll retire when I suck. I don't think he wins MVP this year. I think Rodgers gets it. However, did he deserve it? Yeah, probably. But regardless, I don't think you finish top 2 in the MVP and retire. Also, I think like he is that broken defensive play away from arguably being in the NFC Championship game. Like all the people on the Bucs defense were like, yeah, we had a miscommunication. Like we thought half the people thought they were a man, half the people thought they were in zone. Stafford made a nice ball to Kupp. Kupp came up big. They lost. Like it is what it is. And like I also think Brady deserves a retirement tour. But now that they push back that Man in the Arena, all the rumors came out, like Giselle vocally even more has been like, yeah, like, and then he's been talking about his family. I think he's done, man. And I'm in the same boat. I think he was probably going to announce it in that, or they backtracked because he didn't have his Instagram video ready to go. I did see while we were going, I did see that he had talked about on his podcast that he's day to day. So, I mean, who knows? But I think you're right. Well, as soon as I read that, I think it's like the $15 million bonus by like February 6th. I mean, that's a no-brainer, dude.
Right.
I don't care if you're Jeff Bezos, walking away.
No, you got to cash that in.
Yeah. And he'll probably wait till the next Monday. I think it's a Friday. I think it's this Friday even, or maybe the Friday following.
It could be that.
And so I think he probably told someone, I'm going to retire, but I'm waiting to announce it. And someone jumped the gun and told someone, and then they tweeted it out. I just think it was someone messed up in the Brady camp, because even his like personal assistant is out trying. Remember that was rumored his personal assistant from back. He's been with him since he was with like early days of the Patriots. he just was asking Mahomes, Allen. He was like applying for other jobs. Like he was looking out. So why does Brady's assistant need a new person to work with?
Yeah.
I mean, all the signs are even Gronk saying, I don't know if I really want to play. I mean, if Gronk's saying that, that's obviously like he knows Tom's
that was another big sign because Gronk's not coming back if Brady doesn't come back.
No, 0%.
I think there's a chance Gronk doesn't come back even if Brady does come back. But the only way Gronk's coming back is if Brady comes back. So when he was like, because obviously they've had these conversations. Plus, Jules fed right into being like, happy retirement to the GOAT.
Yeah.
I think they've probably had some. Like, I just think it's
his teammates. I mean, Godwin, Mike Evans, everyone was tweeting. Is TB12, his own company, tweeted out, congrats on a great.
That's like,
and then deleted it.
Also, one big reason that I'm like, in my mind, it's like 100% that he's going to retire. Shefty doesn't miss like that.
Yeah.
Adam Schefter is the pinnacle of sports reporters. Like, he does not fuck that up. You do not fuck up the Tom Brady retirement announcement. That just doesn't happen. And it's Adam Schefter. And honestly, people are going to question his credibility. And then I think Brady probably waits till after the Super Bowl, so it's not a distraction and the only talking point going in. But as soon as like a week after the Super Bowl, I think Brady probably announces that he's retiring, whether it be a Man of the Arena, one of his cool Instagram videos, whatever it is. I'm probably going to grieve all over again, but not as bad as I did on Saturday. But, I mean, in my mind, he's just done. Like, and again, that was a totally different situation than a week ago. But it's just one of those that, like, I think when there's smoke, there's fire, and I think there's too much smoke.
I think there's been like you said, there's been so much stuff that's come out in the last week. Like I said, besides the Saturday, like he's retiring, a lot of rumors were coming out. Gronk came out that last week, towards the end of last week, that he was saying he was going to retire. His
and the
personal
way that Gronk
assistant
said it so quick.
Yeah,
he's like, if you ask me right now, I'm done. Like, these conversations are had because, I mean, realistically, Tom knows it impacts Gronk's career. Like, he's not just gonna let him find out from an Instagram video,
right?
I don't know.
And
I
think Tom's also like I think he's a good dude, and he doesn't want to. I think he's having these conversations with the Bucs organization too, because he knows. We talked about it last week on the podcast after they lost, because we were debating, is he going to retire or not? The Bucs go back to being a basement team. Like they're not a Super Bowl contender when he leaves, because now Godwin's like, does Godwin come back to the Bucs? Does he go to find a new place? Like, you know what I mean? So I think he is filling in his organization. I think he's filling in his teammates. I think he's filling in, and I think Papa Brady just tried to have his back and was like, you know what? He hasn't made a decision yet.
Which I understand completely, because it's Tom 100%. Brady. He deserves every right to announce his own retirement.
Right.
And I understand if he's pissed at Shefty, but that's Shefty's job.
Right.
Like, that's the biggest scoop in recent NFL history. Like, the GOAT is retiring. You don't sit on that. Because if he sits on that and Rappaport breaks it, that's big. Like, I don't blame Shefty at all. I still think Shefty's probably right. I don't know. It's just one of those things.
To kind of put a bookend, I guess we'll see with Tom retirement. We'll see what he has to do, like what's coming out of it.
Let me ask you this, or both of you guys this. Is Jamar Chase already a top 5 wide receiver?
Damn.
I need to see it more, I think.
Yeah, gun to my head, I say no.
Like, I think he's come on strong the second half of the year. And really, when I say second half, I mean the last 6 weeks. Yeah. I think he's come out unbelievable. And I think
he started the year crazy too.
Yeah, and then he slowed down. I think we talked about, because we were talking about Rookie of the Year. Zach picked him as Rookie of the Year.
I think he's gonna get Rookie of the Year. I do.
I think Zach's right. I picked Mac Jones, but I think the way he's finished the year, started and finished the year, I think he gets it. I don't think yet. If I had to say right now, I don't think he is, but I think he can. I think within the next year, I think he can be.
Yeah. I'm trying
Jack,
to
you have him top 5?
No, if I really thought about it, I'd probably put him in the top 10, top 15. I don't think top 5.
I think
Yeah.
I would put him top 10.
You'd have to put Cup, Devontae Adams, just off the top of my head, and then
Justin Jefferson.
maybe I'd probably put. Oh man, yeah, Justin Jefferson. I put Jefferson ahead of him. I'd put
Devontae Adams
Debo
definitely.
ahead of him.
I think that's a tough one. Debo ahead of him. I would put Devontae definitely ahead of him. I personally put Diggs ahead of him.
Diggs, Cup.
Yeah. I think Jetta's ahead of him.
Who?
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. I think I'd say that too.
You put Cup.
I'd put Cooper Cup.
Yeah,
I'd put Tyreek ahead of him still.
Tyreek.
That's what I was gonna say. Is Tyreek Hill? I'd put him ahead of him.
I think you could make an argument for him being somewhere like 5 to 7. I think Debo's an interesting argument. Could definitely make that argument. I think one that's probably slept on is AJ Brown. I think he's just so big and physical.
That's why I think of DK. Like, is DK ahead? Do you put him ahead of DK?
I would put Chiefs ahead of DK.
Yeah,
because I think it's DK. It's a 60-yard bomb or nothing.
that's true.
Well, not you know what I mean. Not nothing, but his most effective is a deep ball. Chase does everything. Like you saw, was it last week against the Titans? He took the 70-yard screen.
Yeah.
And he's dynamic. Don't get me wrong. And I'm in the boat that I understood why Burrow wanted him, but I was like, dude, you need a left tackle. Like Joe Burrow tore his ACL last year because the offensive line was inept. So that's why I thought you had to go Sewell. Obviously, they're not in the Super Bowl without Jamar Chase. And I think the 12 receptions for 270 yards and 3 or 4 TDs to win. That was to win the AFC North. I think that's what's going to separate the rookie of the year. Honestly, that one game.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Because me and my buddies were having this conversation. Like, I think Mac was like minus 300 going into that week. And we had this conversation. I was like, I think Chase is definitely going to close the gap if he doesn't overtake him. And a couple of my buddies were like, dude, you're on crack. And then all of a sudden, Jamar Chase was like a minus 200 favorite. And it was like, holy shit, I didn't expect that much. But
I'd probably put him at 7 in the league, 6, 7. You can make the argument maybe 5, but I think the big ones, Devontae, Cup, Jefferson.
I'll go back and forth on Cup too. Like he's so good, but I think if you're pulling all 32 NFL starting quarterbacks, Stafford's the only one that's taking Cup.
Really?
I love Cooper Kupp. He's a fantasy darling. I had him in our league that we won. I had him in Stafford, right? Yeah.
I don't know if did you have Stafford?
Yeah, I had him double. In whatever league I had him, I had them double. So, I love Cooper Kupp. It was funny. I saw someone say the other day that he was the greatest white athlete on the planet right now, which made me laugh. But I don't know if I can consciously say he's better than Jamar Chase or Debo or it's like the Edelman argument or the Hunter Renfrow argument. Like they're great at what they do. I mean, Kupp is better than either one of them.
Yeah, I think just the fact of like he set the reception record. He has, I don't know how many yards he finished with.
No, he didn't even set the record. Michael Thomas still has it.
He didn't set the record. I thought he was pretty close. Was he close to the record?
I thought he came up a couple catches short.
Did he? He might have done that. But
I think a receiver we're sleeping on is DeAndre Hopkins too. But I think the injuries might start adding up for him.
Yeah, I think a healthy DeAndre Hopkins, he's probably, I would argue, top 3 in the league. But he's the last year or two. Last year,
yeah, but we don't know if he'll ever be that healthy.
That's what I'm saying. Like the last year, I think has dropped him down in that list.
I think a top 10 receiver that people don't really give him credit for just because of how loaded that offense is. I think CD's probably at the bottom, somewhere probably like 10 to 12.
I put him close to, like, he's got to be at the bottom of the top 10, if not, like you said, 11. Like he's definitely top 15. You could make the argument of bottom 10, like not like close to 10. I think he like, I forget what he was like outside. I think he was in the he's like top 5 in best receiving grade in this season. Like he had like some, I forget, I looked it up earlier because I was looking up the receivers, and he was like had really good, like, if you compare him to other receivers in the NFL, I think he had really high grades and numbers. And I saw him in, like, looking at his numbers in fantasy football, like just looking at the numbers standpoint, he does get a lot of numbers in an offense that has, like, Amari Cooper, and you have to feed Zeke. He has a lot of mouths to feed. So
I guess kind of going back to the original question, at first I was going to say no, I don't think Chase is top 5. But as I'm thinking through it, I think the only ones I would definitively put ahead of him are Devontae, Justin Jefferson. I think Diggs. And then I think you can make the argument for Kupp. You could make an argument for Debo. He's somewhere in that 4 to 7 range.
I put Tyreek Hill above him too.
Yeah, Tyreek. I would put Tyreek. So I guess that 5 to 7 range.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a safe spot. Today, Josh McDaniels was announced the Raiders head coach. I mean, everyone said they saw it coming within the last couple of days when we were talking about potential places like for the Raiders and stuff like that. I didn't think Josh would go there. He goes there with what's his name, who's becoming the GM. He was the player personnel guy. I'm blanking on his name. He's the Patriots player. Ziegler, yeah, Ziegler. He's now he's the GM there. Josh is now the head coach, which I think is perfect for Josh because he has someone he can trust being the GM. He knows he's going to be listened to, but he doesn't have to make those decisions, which I think that's what he learned from the last time he was his last head coaching position, because he stunk at building a team. But we'll see how he can do as a head coach. Now he has, like, it's less pressure. It's just, coach the team he's given in front of him, and he's got a pretty decent team in front of him too.
I mean, they're coming off they went 10-7, went to the playoffs. I do think the Raiders did Rich Bisaccia dirty. I thought he probably should have got the job. I understand.
The interim coach.
Yeah.
Like
they rallied for him. What do they win? 6 straight to make the playoffs? I don't know if you saw Max Crosby, Derek Carr, their stars, like, did huge tributes to him. Everyone's saying, like, as good a coach he is, he's even better, like, human and shit. I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent on Josh leaving. I think Josh, I really thought he would be the next future Patriots head coach. So I think that's probably a good thing, that I feel like Belichick's probably not on his way out yet. But I feel like Josh just play calling kind of gets stagnant sometimes. So I think Bill O'Brien's probably the natural fit.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's mutual interest there. I've seen Joe Brady's name be thrown around, and obviously we saw what Joe Brady did with Joe Burrow. He wasn't great in Carolina, but I mean, he also had Teddy Bridgewater and Sam Darnold. So I feel like Mac's an upgrade there. But I mean, we have enough front office guys. Bill still pulls the strings. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, I think it's more Josh.
Or my thing is, it kind of sucks that Mac was like getting comfortable with the playbook, and now it might get switched up. Right. And obviously, you're not going to bring someone in that's like a total switch up. But I think Bill O'Brien's just the natural one. Start running more 2 tight end sets and see what Jonnu Smith can do. Because I think it's crazy to cut Jonnu Smith, like I've seen some people do it or say. But I mean, you need to utilize him. He's a weapon. We saw it in Tennessee.
They didn't use him at all.
And Jack kind of ran down my wish list. I'm not heartbroken by any means that McDaniels is gone. I mean, is he an offensive genius when he really puts his mind to it? Yes, but at the same time, he does kind of fall into a pattern of, like you said, Jack, stagnant playing calling. It just gets kind of repetitive at some, or he will refuse to do something if it's not part of his game plan. Bill O'Brien makes a ton of sense. That's the guy I would lean more towards just because he knows the system. And it does suck that Mac is losing his OC from his rookie year, but I think he's he's a well put together pro at this point from what we saw in his rookie season that I don't think it's going to affect him that bad. I think really any playbook you put in front of him, he'll be able to kind of absorb. That being said, I do hope it's something similar to what he was already working on, so it's not starting from, scratch, but yeah, this was kind of inevitable. I don't think, unless Bill was telling Josh, hey, I only have blank years left, I think this is inevitable that McDaniel's going to get another shot. So I think this is something they were all maybe not planning for, but at least had an ideas of what they were going to do if this had happened. So I trust Bill to be able to fill in these spots.
Here's my two takeaways from this is, like, I think you guys have hit on it. One, I think this tells that we got Bill for at least 5 years, like within 5 years, 3 to 5. I think that's safe. Because if Josh here is like, I only got 2 more seasons left, I think he sticks around. Because I think if you're trying to make a decision, do I want to coach the Patriots and kind of run the show, or do I want to coach the Raiders? I think it's no contest. I think you want to coach the Patriots. So it's like, if you say 2 seasons, like, all right, I've been here for 20 years. I can be here for another 2 and then have, the rest of my coaching, hopefully the next 20 years for the Patriots, you can keep up the success. So I think that shows, like, now it's going 3 to 5 years. I don't know when I'm going to retire. It's like, Josh, it's like, I want to, get that other crack. So I think that's the one thing. That's a good thing. I agree with who you're bringing in. Billy O's my guy. The one thing I'll say that's negative about Billy O'Brien is it is a total change from Josh McDaniels. Anytime Mac made a mistake or something, Josh would say, give him a fist pump and say, don't worry, bud. We got you next time. Billy O will tell you, you stink. You're terrible. Why would you make that play? He's more fiery, which maybe we could use with Mac Jones. Mac Jones is a psychopath. Like, I think maybe he could, I think he could use that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing or a good thing, because Bill's going to tell you like it is. Josh is more of a coddler and will, like, kind of help you through it. I mean, we saw it a couple years, like back in the day with Bill and Tom. Billy O and Tom got in each other's faces because they were telling, like, he told Tom Brady, why'd you make that? I blamed him for a play. So I think a key in that is, Billy O has ties with Alabama. Bill has ties with Alabama. I think he's going to talk to him. See, hey, do you think Mac could? I think Mac's going to benefit, or do you think that's a good fit for him? And I think he'll tell him straight up. And I think that will tell the story there. I think Bill O'Brien, the positive is, I think he was here during the Aaron Hernandez Gronk years, right? So I think that's what we need.
That's what McDaniels was
in Denver. Yeah,
so QB coach. Then he went to OC. Then he went from our OC to Penn State. Then Penn State to Houston, and then to Bama, right? I think something like that.
Who, Billy O? Yeah. I think that's. I'm talking about. Yeah, I think you're right. Because, well, my point is, like, we were like, what, 27th in usage of tight ends this season, and most of your money in the offensive end is to your 2 tight ends, so that has to change. Like, I think you need to. I think Juwanna Smith is better than what we saw last year. Hunter Henry,
I think he was right. Juwanna Smith can be better than Hunter Henry.
Yeah, I think.
I don't want to say use him in a Debo like role, because he's not Debo, but I think you could. I guess a Hernandez role is the best way to describe it, honestly.
Right.
Out of the backfield. He's a perfect complement to Hunter Henry, I think.
Yeah, so I think that's the benefit of bringing in Billy O, because he's going to bring in a lot of that old style playbook, and I think that will benefit. I think that's a good thing for the Patriots. I do want to get into, because at some point today, because we're all three of us have been very outspoken on this, and I do want to get to this before the end of the show. Hall of Fame was finally voted on. It was the day after our podcast came out, which of course, like it always happens, the day after we release the podcast, the story actually breaks. Big Poppy, the only guy to get in. Bonds and Rogers screwed out of the Hall of Fame race. They dropped out right at the end. They had the percentage, and then they just fell out at the end. Two things. One, so happy for David Ortiz because he was close. Like he was closer than I would have liked, percentage wise. But it's just a sham that the guy who has the most Cy Young awards isn't in the Hall of Fame. The guy with the most home runs isn't in the Hall of Fame, and the guy with the most hits in history that isn't in the Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame is irrelevant to me. It's a farce, and I'm very upset with the results of this Hall of Fame vote.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ortiz was the first ballot Hall of Famer. I think it's bullshit that Clemens, Bonds, and Schilling aren't in. I even think Schilling's getting shafted because of his political views. I mean, when I was looking at the ballot, you have your 10 votes. I had 10 guys I would have voted for. Are all of them truly deserving? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, I think A-Rod's a Hall of Famer, but I think his negative or his positive tests will hurt his case. I think the same thing with Manny. He's got the sweetest swing I've ever seen. But again, his testing positive multiple times is going to hurt him. So I can see not voting for them. I think Andrew Jones is a Hall of Famer. I think Billy Wagner is one of the best relief pitchers of all time. I think he's a Hall of Famer. And I would have voted for Todd Helton and Scott Rowland as well. But I think Rowland will probably make it.
He was close this year.
He was at 63% right now. Next year's ballot is pretty weak. Me and my roommate had this, I guess, talk. The other day we were talking about it. Beltran's the best, and I feel like Beltran's like a borderline Hall of Famer.
He won't get in after the whole Astros and
I forgot about that.
He's not going to get it. We talked about it last week. We went through all the first ballot guys, and the best guy on there was who was the best guy on there? We like beside Beltran, because we said Beltran won't get in because of the cheating stuff. I forget what name we said.
I mean, John Lackey.
That was, I think
that might have been the other one.
That was the one guy we said had a chance. And
2024 is interesting. I mean, you got Beltray. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think Joe Mauer has a good shot. I think I'm in the minority, but I think Chase Utley is a Hall of Famer. He's one of the best second basemen of my career, or my lifetime. Sorry, not career. But then there's other guys like Holiday. I think his prime was too short. Bartolo has the longevity, but not like the peak.
He's just a fan favorite.
Yeah, Batista was great for a while, but not Hall of Fame worthy. Yeah. Although he had 400 something home runs.
Yeah,
344.
But after you don't put in Bonds and Roger, and again, I've been outspoken about Curt Schilling too, because I mean, you may not like what he says post career, but if you ended the day after he ended his career and you said if he's a Hall of Famer or not, I think most people would say yes, because he was just nails in the playoffs, 3 championships, key contributor to all 3 championships, 2 different teams, 2 different leagues. I just think it's ridiculous. And he has one of the most iconic moments in MLB history with the bloody sock. I've heard you use this. We use it on this show. Can you tell the story of baseball without these guys? If you can't, then they're in the Hall of Fame. And I don't think you can tell the story of baseball without Schilling, without Roger, without Bonds, without Pete Rose. You can't tell the story of baseball without these guys. And for some reason, they are not. Well, I know the reason. They're not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could even add A-Rod to that list.
A-Rod too. A-Rod was on my ballot. I would have voted for A-Rod because I just think.
Well, yeah, when I went through, I mean, I think the only 2 really questionable ones for me were Manny and A-Rod, but I think that's because they actually tested positive. Like Bonds, Clemens, even Ortiz, they didn't test positive. So I'm just gonna believe some bullshit that the MLB recanted, at least for Ortiz. Like, do I think Bond and Clemens did steroids? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But I also think we refer to it as the steroid era.
Yeah.
Like,
they also
that was
saved the league.
entire
Like
thing.
the league was dying and they saved
Yeah, I mean,
they saved baseball.
honestly, I think you could argue Sosa, McGuire Hall of Famers too.
Yeah.
But, like, how do you not tell the home run chase of '98? Like, what was it, 98, right? Was that
I
the
think
year that?
It was like
I think
98,
so. Like, they
99.
had a 30 for 30 on it at one point. I watched
Yeah,
it.
the Midsummer Classic is what they called it, I think, right?
Because it was the home
That was
run
a hell of-
derby. It was
Yeah.
the home run derby and that season who was going to win the home run crown. And it was
Yeah.
just, I agree. They saved baseball because baseball was declining a lot and they made it interesting again. Something interesting I heard, and I just real quick before we move on to the people's topic. I heard, did you guys know why the real reason the character clause was made? Did you ever hear this? I didn't know this. And some guy, I could be wrong with this. I tried to look it up, but I heard this on sports radio. The reason the character clause was in place was because this guy, the commissioner of the league, made it a rule because there was some guy that fought in World War II who was playing in the league, or World War I, whatever, and died and didn't get to come back. And they wanted to put him in the Hall of Fame because he was the first veteran to die who played in the league. And his numbers weren't great. They were like I forget the name. It was like 260. He was not a great player, but they wanted to honor him and put him in the Hall of Fame. So they made the character clause. So the initial character clause was made to help someone get into the Hall of Fame. And now 100-something years later, it's keeping some of the best players out.
Yeah.
It's
I didn't know that, but I'm not really surprised. I mean, it doesn't, I mean, I just think it's bullshit. Like, I don't care.
It's ridiculous.
What your beliefs are. I think Kurt Schilling is the Hall of Famer. What's he got? 3 rings. He was got the co-MVP with Randy Johnson. He's got the numbers. I mean, I don't know.
He was a main contributor on all 3 rings. He was like either 1A or 1B on every single team.
Dog. He's a playoff dog. That's the best way to describe him. I think my solution to the whole steroid debacle is let the hitters take steroids, let the pitchers use spider tack, and let's have fun.
Yeah. I don't, like I said, I don't mind steroids.
I mean, Bud Selig didn't have a problem with it, so.
Right.
Yeah. And Bud Selig is so much cooler than Rob Manfred. That
1,000%.
Rob Manfred's awful.
Clip that. Rob Manfred's a fucking pussy.
That's going to be the clip of the week. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Rob Manfred. There's no fans of him on here. And also all the money that these sports writers, that's why we talked about last week with, what's his name? The Boston sports writer, Shaughnessy. All the money this guy has made off of David Ortiz. He does. All the money he's made off of David Ortiz, and he doesn't even vote for him just because he wants to be that guy. It's just, that's what's wrong with the voting process of the Hall of Fame. It's these guys that never played baseball and they made all this money off him, and they want to make more money being the guy that, like you said, Danny Football last week, you want to be the guy that didn't vote for David Ortiz. It's like, it's ridiculous. It's really
Hall of Famers should vote for Hall of Famers.
I like that.
If the Hall of Fame tells me Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens isn't Hall of Famers, okay, I'll respect it. Yeah. But we got chumps like Dan Shaughnessy and some of these fucking idiots that have ballots.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
100% agree. These guys that haven't been able to can't hit a curveball are deciding who's going to be that Barry Bonds didn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. It's ridiculous. But this is an ongoing battle. This has been something that I think all the 3 years of the Big Red Zone history we have complained about, and it doesn't look like we're any closer to figuring out an answer to this this problem. And I mean, it's going to be a couple years before the ballot gets good again. So congratulations. You kept 3 more people that deserved it out of your Hall of Fame. It's ridiculous. But let's end on a positive note. Let's get to the last segment, the people's topic.
It's the people's topic, baby. People's topic.
All right, so for people's topic, you're running our Instagram and Twitter page at Big Red Zone. Give us a comment, a topic, whatever you want us to talk about. All right, this comes from Ed. Josh McDaniels, and he said, and seeing Brady is Vegas or nah? No, I don't think he's going to follow
No.
Josh in Vegas. That's not. They have Derek Carr. Plus, if he's either going to retire or stay in Tampa.
I think Byron Leftwich is a better OC than McDaniels. Well, McDaniels is obviously the head coach now, but
Yeah,
I think
I can see that.
He's realistically looked better in Tampa than he ever. No, I don't want to say ever has, but like he's got. I don't know. He's either bucks or retires unless he signs a one day deal with us.
Well, I don't count that. I think he is eventually going to sign a one deal with the Patriots just to retire the Patriots.
I would be genuinely shocked if he played next year and it wasn't for the Buccaneers. Yeah. I would be more surprised if he played somewhere next year that wasn't for the Bucks than I was when he left New England. Because in the back of my head, there was like a shot that he was leaving New England. I don't think there's any shot he would leave Tampa.
No, I think the only thing he does is sign a one-day contract with the Patriots just to retire. Patriot.
I agree. I could see him also not doing that and just retiring.
Not signing the one day with the Pats. Yeah, I mean he could possibly do that. Yeah. I think he will do it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he just said I'm retired with the Bucks. Going to Instagram real quick. Rosie and it's my aunt. She goes, spring training.
Might not even happen at this point.
Might not happen. I'm hoping for it. Fingers crossed. I
still think there's too much money for them to delay the season. I think you could get a reduced spring training. I think there's too much money on the line to delay the season.
And I think, the players. So I think the last vote, the players came back and they got rid of a big thing. The owners got rid of a big thing. I think they're getting closer to a agreement. I think you're right. I just don't see them pushing up, but I could see them cutting into spring training a little bit.
Also, let's be real. Do any of us think that the second they're unlocked out, Carlos Correa isn't going to sign? Seiya Suzuki's not going to sign. These players know where they're going.
Yeah.
There's going to be tampering investigations. They're going to lose a 47th round pick, and no one's going to give a fuck.
Yeah.
Let's play baseball.
Yeah. The last question, we already talked about it. Actually, ironically enough, Jack Moran asked this question, but this comes from our boy, Joseph_Celia. He writes in, is Jamar Chase a top 5 wide receiver? That was his question. Jack, you say?
I'd say I would argue 5 to 7.
Zach?
I think definitely top 10. You can argue him. You could probably argue him into the top 5. I'd say somewhere in the top 10.
I don't think there's any debate. He's top 10. I agree with that.
Yeah, I think he's top 10. I think he's in the middle. I don't know if I put him at 5, but I need to see a bigger sample size. But I think he's already, as a rookie, being a top 10 receiver in the league, I think that's huge. And I think he is.
That
I think
shows you how good LSU is, dude, because back-to-back years, they had Jetta last year and Jamar this year. Yeah.
And Jefferson, I would say, is a top 5 receiver in the league right now. He's one of the guys.
Would or wouldn't?
I would. I would say he's a top. I would say he's like a 4 or 5, and maybe even 3 receiver in the league. That about wraps it up this week. For the people's topic, remember you can write on our Instagram and Twitter page at Big Red Zone. Give us a follow, leave us a comment, whatever you want us to talk about. Also, reminder to go subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the like button on this video as well as all our other videos. My thanks to Jack Moran, as always welcome on the Big Red Zone. It's been a long time.
Boys.
And as always, Danny Football, the champion of co-ed soccer.
I need Jack to keep that BMF belt warm and then see if I can get
it. Where is it? Bring it out.
I don't think we've ever showed it off, have we?
I don't know if it's ever made an appearance. Let's show
that
off.
Baby. Made it myself.
Me and Zach's BMF upside down. BMF belt for
Jeez. He doesn't even know how to wear it.
Well, it's all right, just bask in the glory.
Oh my goodness. All right, before Jack's head gets any bigger in this episode, thanks for everyone listening. Have a great week, everyone.